Alright, first off, I apologize for the bad mic quality. I wasn't planning on making videos again so soon, and I just had my headset mic, but let's get straight to this point. So first of all, for any doubters, I want you to do one thing real quick. Go and take some time, sit down in a room to yourself, and think about ways that you would rig a sports. Not to the point of fooling the average viewer, but the more hardcore viewers, the ones that are very dedicated in the sport. You can pick anything from baseball, basketball, to UFC. For a lot of my examples, I'm going to stick to UFC and boxing because that's the one I watch the most. So just think to yourself, how would you do it? How would you fool a hardcore viewer? And mind you, any way that you're going to be able to fool a hardcore viewer, and you don't even have to fool all of them, just as long as you fool about 30 to 50% of hardcore viewers, you're going to fool most average viewers, any casual ones, and that's all you need to get the result that you want. So first off, when it comes to sports betting, and again, you can apply this to any sport. I'm going to stick to UFC and boxing for my examples, but all you need to do is influence it in a way to where your desired outcome is going to happen 50% of the time. So even in rigged fights, you're not going to have 100% win rate. So you want X person to win. You influence it in any ways that you want, and there's multiple ways to do it. You can influence it by just one way or a combination of a bunch. So, for example, there's refs, there is paying a fighter out specifically, and when you do this, you don't need both fighters to know. The winning fighter doesn't even know the other guy is taking a dive for this to work. You can influence judges, and you can do a mix of all of them. So you can even pay out a fighter, you can pay out judges, and you can pay out the ref. Or you can do one, you can do two of the options, and there's even more ways that you're not even thinking of, and ways that I might get into later on in the video to pull this off. So bottom line is you don't even need your desired outcome to happen. As long as you're influencing it in a way to where about 50% of more of the time your desired outcome is happening, you're making money. So say in a fight, you have one guy you want to win, and you influence it in all these ways, but what happened? The one guy threw a good punch and knocked the guy out that you wanted to win. That doesn't matter to them. They don't care. They're going to spin the narrative in a way where, okay, this guy got knocked out, let's go to the next step and figure out how to rig it further from now. So it never has to work out in their favor. They just have to influence the sport to where it's going to work out in their favor majority of the time, 50% or more of the time. When they lose out on the fights that they rig, guess what? They're still making money. We're talking about a business. This isn't here for the entertainment quality of the viewer. This isn't a foundation, charity for us. The people that are on the top level running these sports do not care about us. They care about the money that they're making. Anything that you can bet on, it's going to be rigged. There's a reason why Vegas and sports betting still exists. It's not because they're losing out on money. It's because they're taking the money. And the way that they're doing that, again, is influencing the desired outcome 50% of the time or more. So another thing they do to fool the hardcore viewer is that they put seeds of doubt into your mind. So you're watching a fight, and you're watching it, you kind of suspect it's rigged, but then all of a sudden you see something that makes you question it all. So it's kind of like you're watching it, okay, this might be rigged, this might be rigged. Oops, something just happened where it's like, whoa, if it was rigged, why would that have just happened though? And then that plants a seed of doubt and makes you think that maybe it isn't rigged after all. So one thing that might happen is that the guy who you thought was throwing the fight threw a really nasty punch, and it's like, whoa, if that connected, or maybe it did connect, that had a chance to knock the guy out, you know? Or like, let's just throw another example in baseball. It's like, okay, I think this is rigged, but wait a second, this player just hit a home run, for an example. It's like, what? Like, it's all a part of the plan to, again, plant that seed of doubt. And sometimes that happens, and it wasn't ever supposed to happen. That guy wasn't supposed to hit that home run, or that guy wasn't supposed to hit that nasty punch that knocked the person out. Now, say the other team that they didn't want to win ends up winning, or the fighter ends up winning because of that hit or the nasty punch, they still profit off of it. They can then go back to the drawing board and spin the narrative to what they're going to do next. You know, it's like, okay, that team we wanted to win just lost. Now what do we do from here to continue on making as much profit as possible? Again, you gotta realize it's not black and white, and they do not need the desired outcome to happen 100% of the time. I can't stress this enough. It's only got to be that 50% margin or more for them to be successful and start cashing out on huge bucks. And of course, 50% is just a guideline or a point that I'm just throwing out there. It's well over 50% of the time that they are actually lucking out and rigging these events. I don't know how often they rig events. I can't give you a percent, but the success rate is over 50%. But the bottom line is they only need that 50% for it to be successful. It's more than likely much higher. And mind you, there's probably events and fights that have happened that were supposed to be rigged and were rigged, but something happened where the fighter accidentally knocked a guy out, and we'll never even know, and it goes right under our radar. There's plenty of fights and sporting events where everyone, even the casual viewer, kind of pointed it out and was like, oh, there's something fishy going on there. But the main thing is they always cast a seed of doubt. Losing my train of thought. So, I mean, that's like the bottom line that I want to hit. I just want people to stop looking at it so black and white, like, oh, if fights are rigged, then why did this happen or why did that happen? They're doing it on purpose. Say if you know, what do you do for a living? You're a plumber, you work 8 hours a week. These people have 8 hours a week, 8 hours a day. These people have 8 hours a day to plan this stuff. That's why in the beginning of the video, I told you, you know, especially if you're a doubter, go sit down for, take 30 minutes, 20 minutes, make a list of things that you would do to fool a hardcore viewer of a fight, baseball game, basketball game, doesn't matter. Take a time, make a list, and these people are going even deeper than that, have more time and more experience doing this. They have all the time in the world and they know what makes people tick. They know what people are going to say when they see a certain thing. You know, they have so much time and experience doing this. They analyze what you're saying in YouTube comments. They analyze what the casual viewers watching, seeing, all of this stuff. It's not very hard to, you know, trick people. Again, that's why going back to fights, all you really need to do, the full hardcore UFC fan, is let's rig a fight and have the opposing guy who's not supposed to win throw a couple heavy shots that potentially could knock this guy out. And the dude's going to eat the shots. It's either he's going to eat them and continue the fight, or he's going to eat them and get knocked out and oops, back to the drawing board. It's simple as that. Again, like, can't stress this enough, once again, they don't need their desired outcome to happen 100% of the time. I think that's where most people are going wrong with the whole, oh, maybe it's not rigged actually. It's because they're seeing these certain things that seem to them like it would be stupid or impossible. Well, if they were rigging the fight, then why did this happen? That's exactly what they want you to see, and that's exactly what they're doing to fool at least half or more of the hardcore viewers. And like I said, you fool some of the hardcore viewers, you're fooling most of the average viewers, and you're pretty much fooling all of the casual viewers. People like to also appeal to authority. People like to go with the majority. You see most people, may them be the casual viewers or average viewers, even hardcore viewers, if you see most of those people talking about how it's not rigged and you're stupid to think it's rigged, then it's kind of harder for the little guy to get their say out there. You know, it's like, well, how am I gonna? I don't really want to say it's rigged now because most people are saying it's not, and I don't want to look stupid. You know, you got a lot of people calling other people stupid or dumb, or that, oh, you're salty because your favorite fighter lost, and now you're saying it's rigged. I have known that sports betting is rigged for a while now. I don't care about sports in the way I used to care about them. I just care about the truth. I care about getting this stuff out here and changing people's minds on how they think and look at sports. I still watch UFC. I take it all with a grain of salt. Most recently, the Jake Paul fight just happened with Mike Perry. Yes, I think it's rigged. My thoughts on that real quick. Go ahead and watch Mike Perry versus Michael Venom Page, or any of his UFC fights, or any of his bare knuckle boxing fights. Watch it side by side with Jake Paul. It's not how Mike Perry fights. It's kind of silly. Jake Paul is not a better striker than Michael Venom Page. Guess you kind of have to think that that's what happened. This isn't about the Jake Paul fight though. I don't care about that. I knew it was going to be rigged going into it. A lot of people like to bring up, oh, well, I guess the Tommy Fury fight wasn't rigged then. It probably might have been. Who knows? And also they do that to make it look legit. I know there was a UFC card where, I forget which one it was, but it was one with Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker. There was a lot of questionable judging going on there, but they did it in a way where the right guy won. So it was like taking a lot of fights that were nowhere near. It was very one-sided fights, but the judging made it seem like, oh, it's a split decision. Here we go. Like the other guy, they might give it to the other guy. Oh, but they didn't. They did this because a lot of the UFC fights now are getting rigged through judging. That's like the easiest way to rig UFC events, and they 100% are. So what they do there is they're putting that seed of doubt into you. So you see, like, oh, whoa, maybe judging is actually all like, if there was rigged, then why would they not give it to Paulo Costa? Why did they try to, but it failed? They're doing it to put that seed of doubt into you. They're normalizing bad judging on purpose. They're making it a normal thing that, oh, judging's kind of all over the place and wacky. So now when they want to rig a popular fighter who they really want to win, and he lost the fight, but they want him, to go on through judging, win the decision, they're doing that to normalize that. So then you're going to see Sean O'Malley, for example, beat Jan, and you think that's all rigged. Or here's a better example, because that one's kind of questionable, I'm not going to lie. Like, you could give it to Sean in some circumstances there. So let's use one that's no way Jose. Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon, right? You can look at that fight and say Jared won pretty confidently. They're doing these other ones to normalize that. So now you can look back and see that and be like, oh, well, maybe they didn't just rig it for this fighter. Maybe like judging is a little, up in the air and all over the place. That's why they have close decision fights where the other guy clearly won, but they made it close, gave it a split decision, and then, oh, okay, thank God the guy who was supposed to win did win at the end of the day. I'm kind of going off the cuff with this. This isn't really where I wanted to take the video, so I hope I explained that well enough. I don't want to make this super long. I think I kind of hit all the points that I wanted to hit. Let me just take a second to think about that. And just quick summary. No, I think I hit everything. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope that made things more clear. Stop thinking that just because a fight's rigged or an event is rigged, it doesn't mean that the person that they're rigging it towards is going to win 100% of the time. They don't need that to happen. I think that's the major thing people should take away from that, and they're going to plant seeds of doubt. Seeds of doubt is what gets everyone to deny these sporting events to be rigged, and it's my biggest pet peeve. If I get mad over anything, it's the fact that people can't see through that. These people aren't stupid that are rigging events. They're not sitting there being like, okay, you're going to take a dive, so just stand there and let them punch you and pitter-pat them with shots. They know for a fact that we need to see both fighters throw heavy shots, and if that heavy shot happens to land flush and knock the guy out that they're rigging it to, they're going to take the loss. It's not even a loss, too, by the way. They're still going to make their money. That's another thing people don't understand. It's either making $1 million or bazillion dollars, right? Like, if things go their way, they're making a gazillion, jillion, quadrillion dollars. If they don't, they're making their $1 billion. You're still making millions, billions. It doesn't matter if it's a win or a loss. Like I said, as long as it's going their way over 50% of the time, they're making a huge profit, more than they would if sports were legit. So yeah, their favorite fighter wins, or the person they want to win, they're making their billions. If he doesn't win, they're making their millions. It doesn't matter, They don't need it to work out in their favor. That all they need to do is fool you, so they can keep on rigging events, keep on getting their way, influencing the way the outcome comes majority of the time, and they make their big profit. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Don't be sheep. Think for yourself. Stop falling for little tricks. This stuff isn't black and white. Go sit down in your room. Make a list. How would you rig an event? How would you fool a hardcore viewer? And whatever you come up with, they're doing that plus more. Use your brain. Think past a couple layers of thought. I'm done with people just thinking for 2 seconds about this and being like, oh, well, there's no way it's rigged because of this. They're thinking about this for over 8 hours a day. They have done this for years and years. They have people in there that are smart. They have experience rigging. They know what the average viewer is seeing. They know what the casual viewer is seeing. And they know what the hardcore viewer is seeing. They know how to fool you. Stop being fooled. Thank you. Bye.